Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals.com, and this is episode 9 of the ultimate guide to your first aquarium. Coming up in this episode, we're going to talk about the 10 things every fish keeper should have. If you're setting up your first aquarium, I'm going to recommend to you that you get all of the items that I list in this video before you purchase your first fish. And if you're an experienced fish keeper and you don't have all the items on this list, well, you better get on it because you never know when you might need one of these items. I will link every single item that we talk about in this video in the description. So let's get on with it with the first item. The first thing that I recommend every fish keeper have is a master test kit. Now this is something that's going to test for ammonia, nitrite, nitrate, and pH. This is going to help you get through that initial cycling process, but it's also going to help you to diagnose problems if you have them in the future. And it's going to give you an idea of how your tank's doing as you're maintaining it regularly. So master test kit, everybody should have them. It should be one of the first things you buy. The next thing on the list is a battery-operated air pump. Now, this is something that's great to have in the event of a power outage. You can keep that water moving. You can keep it well oxygenated so that your fish will make it through even a long-term power outage. And if you're someone who likes to travel long distances to purchase fish, you can bring a bucket with you, put the fish in the bucket on the trip home, and put some air in that bucket with the battery-operated air pump. Keep the water moving, and again, if you're traveling a long distance, your fish will survive the journey without any problems. The next thing I'm going to talk about is 4 different medications. These are API products. I am not sponsored or affiliated with API in any way. I wish I was, but these are products that I've been using for decades, and they work really well, and I believe that every fish keeper should have them on hand at any time, and that is API's General Cure, Melafix, Pimafix, and Super Ick Cure. Now these are 4 medications that should pretty much get you through anything that you come up with, unless it's something really severe where you need some type of an antibiotic or something like that. But most of your smaller stuff you can handle with these. And let's face it, you never know when these kind of things are going to happen. Most likely it's going to happen at 9 o'clock at night when all of the stores are closed and you can't run out to buy medications. So it's good to have these on hand. Next thing on the list is aquarium salt. Now I'm not talking about table salt here, folks. I'm talking about aquarium salt. This is great to have to use as a buffer if you're needing to harden your water up for things like African cichlids. It's also like a general elixir or a tonic for fish if they have a very minor illness. A lot of times, aquarium salt and a raising of the temperature is all you'll need to solve some of these minor illnesses that your fish might have. So aquarium salt, definitely put it on the list. Next is an extra or backup heater. Now, heaters malfunctioning are something that never happen when you want it to happen. They always happen at the worst time, at 8 o'clock at night on a Sunday when the stores are all closed. So have that extra backup heater available. I actually like to put them in the tank, set it a degree below the other heater so that they're both in there. If one malfunctions, the other will take over. You never have to worry. Next thing on the list sounds simple, but a lot of people forget this when they go to buy their first tank, and that's a fish net. This is something that you absolutely need because you never know when you're going to need to take a fish out, or maybe unfortunately you have a fish die or something catastrophic happens and you need to get them out of there and you can't necessarily grab them with your hands. Get a fish net. It's one of the first things that you should get. And if you get a starter kit, a lot of times they'll come with one. Next, again, common sense. You should already have one of these sitting around, but that is a 5-gallon bucket. Now, I don't want you to go out and get the 5-gallon bucket that you've been using to wash your cars. I don't want the bucket that your dad has been storing turpentine in to clean his paintbrushes. You need a dedicated 5-gallon bucket that's never been used for anything but your aquarium. Write aquarium on it so that nobody else puts anything else in there. Have that available. Again, you never know when you're going to need it. And hey, you're a fish keeper now. We all use buckets all the time. Next is a siphon hose. Now this is something that if you're going to keep fish, you better get used to using these. There's a few different varieties. Some of them are really nice and they'll plug right into your sink and do it all for you. And then you have the old-fashioned type that you actually have to manually start the siphon on. But either way, you need these for doing maintenance and doing water changes and vacuuming out your gravel. So siphon hose, absolutely essential tool for fish keeping. The next thing is another thing that new fish keepers often forget because they don't see it as being something that's important, and that's water conditioner. Folks, your water, if you're on city water, contains chlorine or chloramine, which is basically bleach. That is in there to kill bacteria, making it safe for you to drink with or cook food with. Water conditioners take care of that chlorine and make it safe for your tank. And remember when we talked about that beneficial bacteria in the cycling episode of this series? Well, if you put water with chlorine in it, it can kill all of that bacteria. So water conditioner takes care of all of that. Plus it has other things in it to help out with the fish to keep them healthy. So water conditioner, please don't forget it when you buy your first tank. And the last thing on my list is something that I absolutely recommend that anybody have. Some people find it difficult to do this, but have something to put a sick or injured fish in. Now, I've done a couple of different videos, and I'm going to be doing more in the future about hospital tanks or quarantine tanks. These are absolutely critical, especially if you're going to be keeping cichlids, not just Africans, but any cichlids that are known to be aggressive. You're going to have fish that get sick. You're going to have fish that get injured. Or you're going to buy fish from somebody that you don't really know anything about, and you'd like to stick them in a tank and monitor them for a few weeks before you put them in with all of your other fish. Having this extra tank is going to save your fish's lives. So have that tank. It can be small, something like a 10-gallon or something like that. Have it available because you never know when you're going to need it. And there you have it, my top 10 list of things that every single fish keeper should have. Honestly, folks, you really do need to have all of these items before you have your first fish. Be prepared, be ready in case anything happens. Again, you never know when any of these things are going to happen. So I hope that you've gotten something out of this video. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And if you have, why don't you be a pal and click that like button down there for me. Don't forget you can subscribe to this channel so that you get a notification when the next week's episode comes out. Next week, we're going to talk all about aquarium maintenance. It's the final episode in the series. Very excited about it. I've had a lot of fun with this series. So subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to talking to you again next week.